morning and welcome to Coffee with a Kick. That's right, this one's coming out in the morning time because we had to wait until after all of our matches were over on Thursday to record, so that pushes everything back, you know? You know what I mean? It's called scheduling. Get used to it. Boy, that's awfully aggressive way to start this episode, but here we are. Anyway, anything to say before we go ahead and get into this midweek action?
You know, City is on top. Retrospectively, with a game in hand, we're still second, but it's looking good. I don't want to jinx it, but it's looking good.
It's definitely, after this midweek, it's definitely looking pretty good. We'll go and get into one that doesn't look so good, because Arsenal did beat Chelsea 5-0, and it was never very close, to be fair. Leandro Trossard got his goal in the fourth, and Arsenal just kind of pounded it away after that. Then they decided to score 4 goals in 18 minutes. So that really unraveled very quickly there for Chelsea in the second half. And, it technically puts Arsenal top of the table, whatever. They've got 2 games in hand on City, right? 2 games in hand? 1 game in hand at this point.
Yeah.
But, definitely looked like a good team.
Yeah, for those that don't know, we Zoomed this because Xander's in Indiana and I'm in Nashville. But this week, Xander and I got to chat off camera because he came down for a little golf action. And our comment on this one was the stat that Chelsea would be in relegation zone without Cole Palmer's goal involvements, which means goals and assists. And he didn't play in this when they lost 5-0. So he's been a hog for their team this year to just really stop any bleeding that has happened. But 5-0, that just when you thought their season was going decent, had a good string of games, Arsenal comes in and decides, you know what, you're going to be our rebound girl. You're not going to be the one we're going to stick with, but you'll be the rebound.
Yeah, you had texted me after this was over. Arsenal decided to be a good team again. And I said, it was partially that, and also that Chelsea folded like an unsuited 2-7 in Texas Hold'em. You want to set those down real quick because nothing is happening with that hand. But it was a very poor showing from Chelsea. But it just goes to show that we are correct. It's them and Man U. You never know which team you're going to get. You never know. And in this one, it was the bad Chelsea. Mainly it was because Cole Palmer wasn't out there, I guess, is what it boils down to. But, definitely not a good look.
Be on the lookout for the Coffee with a Kick at Night edition to get more of our, Texas Hold'em and sports betting knowledge.
Texas Hold'em strats. I just know that if you get 2 number cards and they're far enough away that you can't get a straight out of it, and they're not suited so you can't get a flush, throw them away. What'd you see the flop? Maybe you can...
just go home at that point.
Probably just fold it, Mm-hmm. Anyway, we'll get on to one that's definitely not as fun to talk about here. My Wolves did lose to the Cherries of Bournemouth 1-0, even with Bournemouth going down to 10 men in the 79th minute. Could not put together a equalizer, even though we were pressing hard. But even so, Bournemouth deserved the win. I thought they played very well. And my Wolves didn't really get into it until probably about the 70th minute, where they really started to get their act together. But Chelsea's coming, and Molineux has not been a stronghold this year. We've lost 4 in a row at home at this point, so we might as well get out of here. Just go somewhere else, because it's been rough sledding at Molineux here for the past in 2024.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this was the case of nothing to play for's.
Yep.
Wolves went down, and it took the red card to really get them even excited about this match, because there's nothing to play for. Maybe there are a couple guys who might be playing for a good transfer destination or see if they make the squad next year. But trying
to play their way into the Copa America sides, because Cunha's trying to get on the Brazil side for that. And also for the Olympics in the summer.
Yeah, but even at this point in the year, you feel like those managers probably know who they're going to pick. So
Probably.
it's kind of like, does the form really matter? I don't know, but it definitely felt like this was Wolves looking at the table and saying, you know what, we've done our due diligence. We've done our duty this year. It's okay.
Yeah, speaking of due diligence, Crystal Palace is just trying to show us that we're totally wrong every time that we pick for them here in the past, in the last couple of weeks. They take out Newcastle 2-0 with Jean-Philippe Mateta, who we did call out as like, as long as we don't have Mateta or yeah, as long as we don't have Mateta go off, then we're fine. Well, you know what? He went off anyways.
Yeah, Mateta, I mean, I, you know what, I'm going to look it up right now how many goals he has because I feel like he is gunning for, he's not in the top five, but I mean, I feel like he has just been on one in the last just like 10 match weeks. I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
see his name in the goal involvement at some point, but I mean, he's been solid. He currently has 11 goals.
Boy,
And
those must have all come pretty recently, to be honest.
yeah, I was gonna if you want to chat about the game, I was gonna go back and see how recent those 11 goals are.
Yeah, well, I mean, Crystal Palace has found their form when they've needed it most. I mean, they were down in what is this? They were down in 16th and not far out of the relegation zone just back at the end of February. So since then, their position has not improved much. But we've talked about this previously that at one point there was a 10-point gap between, I think it was 15th and 16th. Well, they've now closed that gap considerably up to, well, they jumped up to 14th, first of all. And they've now are 14 points clear of 18th. So they are totally safe at this point, having won their last 3 matches by teams that are not totally terrible. I mean, they beat Liverpool, so that's crazy. They beat West Ham, that's pretty good. And then they beat Newcastle, who's also very good. So their backs were against the wall, and they found the form to get themselves through to next season without much worry at this point.
Yeah, so if we're keeping track here, in 9 of the last match weeks, Mateta has scored 8 goals.
Wow. Yeah.
That's just where I'm at right now.
I mean,
Yeah,
that'll be
so
why it
8 in the
seems like
last
he's
9.
scored most of his goals in the last couple of weeks, because he has.
Oh yeah, he has been on a tear. So I mean, he's probably the most informed player in the Premier League right now.
He's definitely up there. I think there might be someone on City who could be up there as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. But we'll get to the
Ooh.
surprise match of the midweek here. You know what I'm talking about here. Everton, the Merseyside derby. Everton takes down Liverpool 2-0 with truly a convincing victory. Like they won this match fair and square. I mean, it was a Jordan Pickford, I think, really won the match for them because he had some really great saves and heads up play. But it was a very good showing by Everton, a team who really needed it too.
They needed it, and they got me and our boys in this Man City. I mean, it's hard to see Liverpool being able to win it at this point
Yeah,
because I think now City's ahead of them with the game in hand. Arsenal is what, 4 points ahead of them, 3 points ahead of them. So
one.
it's really 1 point ahead of them.
Yeah, after the victory, they were 3 points ahead, but then City won on Thursday, so they're now only 1 point ahead with 1 game in hand. Liverpool is 2 points back with 1 game in hand. So,
Okay. Yes, that's right. So yeah, it's hard to think it would take Arsenal and City flubbing some games, obviously,
yeah.
but yeah, this was, I thought Everton was going to play well enough to draw, definitely not well enough to win, but I really thought this was like maybe Everton's time, and it was. I think Liverpool just got caught off guard.
Yeah, and then to wrap up our perfectly terrible Wednesday predictions, because we did both miss all 4 matches on those match days. None of them went the way that we thought in any regard. I was only saved because I did pick Arsenal to beat Chelsea. You put it at a draw. But everything else, I was terrible, including this one. Manchester United beating Sheffield United 4-2. And to be fair to Sheffield, they were leading at multiple points in this match. But also be fair to Sheffield, their defense is still terrible. So they end up losing 4-2.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see it. They go up 1-0, then they go up 2-1 pretty quickly in the second half. Yeah. And you're thinking they came out hot. This is looking good. And then, yeah, the penalty was fine. I felt like Man U kind of lulled after the penalty, but I mean, 80th minute on, even just 70th minute on, it looked like they dominated and finally got a couple of goals. So, yeah, I feel like this really proved Sheffield's championship caliber because a Premier League side, I think, could have seen out a draw. But, yeah, even them parking the bus, it looked like they were horrible.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up penalties because I want to go back to my Wolves real quick and say that we were robbed of another point here. By VAR.
That is true.
Hwang got himself a very nice header off. I think it was Sarabia who played it in, but they back it up for we'll say adventurous elbow by Cunha at a guy's face. Didn't connect. Okay, didn't connect. Didn't affect the run of play at all. Yet he felt compelled to take away our equalizer that we earned. For no particular reason other than he hates Wolverhampton. That's basically all it comes down to. I wanted to make sure that we go back and get that. I think we've now lost a total of 7 points maybe to VAR not going our way this season. So I'd like that to be noted in the record that my Wolves probably could have 7 more points. 7, that might be a little bit much. 4 additional points very easily with VAR going our way. There was the one at the beginning of the season with Manchester United. This one was also egregious. I think there was one in December that really, really did not tickle my fancy, all right? Didn't tickle it at all.
Yeah, I think I saw Sky Sports with an article. They usually do the without VAR standings. Oh. I think Wolves was like 10th or 11th. They were significant. There was a significant jump in points just due to the fact that some other teams lost points. They gained points. I think Man U was down in like 14th.
Yeah, Man U's gotten quite a few they've gotten. Yeah, because that would swing our match from back earlier in the season, and yeah, that tracks about with where I'm feeling at 4 or 5 points. That would put us up into top half of the table for sure. But you play the game as it's currently officiated, right? Right. So we'll go to Thursday. Manchester City goes into Brighton, bing, bang, boom, 4-0 victory, looking like the champs that they're probably going to end up being. Leading 3-0 by halftime with a brace by Phil Foden. He's the one I'm talking about with also possibly being in like top form of the league right now. Kevin De Bruyne gets his own goal in the 17th, and then Julian Alvarez comes in with the 62nd just to put this baby to bed.
Yeah, this one, it felt like that flurry. 3 goals in 17 minutes after Foden's 34th. Yeah. It was almost like the entire team took a sigh of relief. Yeah. Like, okay, we can just pass the game out. We don't have to actually try and get anything here at the end or potentially lose an important match again. So, yeah, I think it was a good showing, obviously. Like, dominated possession, dominated shots. It looked like a classic City win.
And City's firing on all cylinders because they didn't leak in that silly late goal that we both predicted. We both had this go 4-1. They kept it 4-0. You're in trouble when they're blanking people because that means they're staying focused throughout the whole match. So I think Pep's got these guys focused in on sealing up this Premier League title since they don't get to do Champions League. I mean, he basically has to win. I think you have to fire him if he doesn't get a single trophy in a season. I think it's built into his contract that he will walk off into the surf there somewhere on the southern coast of England. I mean, I know that's not where Manchester is. I know that's not where Manchester is, okay? Manchester's up on the eastisher side. They're kind of centrally located, but still. It's an island. He can walk. There's plenty of directions for him to walk off into the surf if he doesn't get a trophy. He's trying to avoid that fate, is what I'm saying. And doing a bang-up job at it, to co-opt a British phrase. But yeah, that's the match week that was whatever these conglomeration of midweek matches were. I couldn't tell you where they all came across from because I didn't look it up ahead of time. I'll have to look it up eventually because I have all the blank spots on our pick chart that I have to fill in with all of the no's. Because you went 1-5 and I went 2-4. It's not our best showing by any stretch of the imagination because these matches were rather unpredictable. But we will move on from there to later today, Saturday morning, with the first match coming up. West Ham hosts Liverpool there. How do you think, at London Stadium, do you think Liverpool bounces back at all?
I think they bounce back and they win, but not as, enthralling as top teams bounce back. Mm-hmm. Bounce backs, you think of an Arsenal 5-0 victory. Yep. I think this one goes 2-1 Liverpool. I think it's because that London Stadium, West Ham, I think wants to end on a high note. I think Liverpool just squeaks in a 2-1 victory, gets back on steady ground. But I don't know. This one, losing 2-0 to Everton this late in the season, Klopp is leaving. There's a lot of things going on at Liverpool. So I wouldn't be shocked if they dropped another one.
I have the same thing, 2-1 victory for Liverpool, much the same reason. Not a lot to play for, and the things that are happening are not going their way. They have, I think they're still in the running for. No, I think all the English teams got bounced out of Europa, didn't they? Is that right? Do I remember that correctly?
No, they still get one. It's just dependent. But yeah, I think all of them.
I think all of them have lost. I don't think anybody is in contention for winning the Europa League at this point for England. So Liverpool, no trophies for them this year, which is part of the reason why Klopp. Well, Klopp is leaving for they're still going with medical reasons, right? I haven't heard anything otherwise.
I think it's just he's leaving. I don't know if they ever confirmed the medical stuff either. I think it's just he's leaving, and that's that. Yeah.
I mean, he's had plenty of success at Liverpool. But, 2-1, I think, goes that way as well. Now we'll go to the hot team. Crystal Palace goes to Craven Cottage, also in London. One of our London derbies. We actually have two going on this weekend. Oh, we also had one in the midweek with Arsenal and Chelsea that we forgot to mention. But this is Fulham and Crystal Palace. I think that Crystal Palace takes it, actually 2-0. Fulham don't have a lot to play for right now. Crystal Palace, I feel like these are a 13 and 14 matchup here. And I think that Crystal Palace is just going to keep it rolling. They're feeling good. They're having fun. They haven't had a lot of fun this season. I think they're having fun now. And Fulham has not performed very well recently. They beat West Ham 2-0, but they've lost 3 of their last 4 other than that. So I think Crystal Palace keeps it rolling here. Of course, this is the time that they're going to lose like 5-0 to Fulham because Fulham can do that. But I'm going to roll with the hot hand here.
Yeah, I'm going something similar. I think it'll be 3-1. I don't know if Crystal Palace is good enough to keep Fulham out, but I think that they hit them quick, they hit them hard, get 2 goals pretty early, and I think they take it 3-1.
Yep, 3-1. Then to Manchester United hosting Burnley at Old Trafford. Now, Burnley is in the relegation zone, but they've been playing better of late. Do you think that they managed to get some points out of United here?
I think this has the making for a Premier League classic. Wow. I think at Old Trafford, Man U is playing like the most volatile team in the league. And Burnley's playing pretty decent. I think Burnley takes a 2-1 lead late, and Man U ends up drawing, maybe in stoppage time. So I think they get a point out of it, but I think Burnley gets really close to winning, mainly just because of the form. Again, Man U honestly doesn't have a lot to play for either.
Right.
So it's not like they're, I guess they could push maybe for the Europa League spot, but at this point, Ten Hag is starting to get rumors that he might be axed by the end of the season. So there's, again, a lot of stuff going on at Man U. I think Burnley's feeling good. They know they have to get points. I think they get 1.
So you think you were going 2-2 then? Was your goal?
2-2.
That's what I have as well. I think it's sort of the same thing. I thought mine was going to be the inverse of that United kind of falls asleep and Burnley gets 1 at the end to take a point away. Yeah, I don't. Manchester United is down 7 points to Tottenham with a game in hand for Tottenham, so I think that they have no shot at going to Europe next year. They're gonna have to rebuild, and Ten Hag, he made it through the end of the season. You got to give him that. He almost got dropped there at the beginning of the year, calendar year that is. But those conversations, they had that spurt there in January where they were doing pretty well, but things have diminished since then, and they've fallen back to where they kind of deserve to be, 6 in the bottom half of the top half of the table sort of range. Not doing anything impressive, but they're a young squad. We'll see if they can make it somewhere interesting later on. Then to a match that means nothing to anyone, to be honest. This is Newcastle United hosting Sheffield United. I think mathematically Sheffield has not yet been totally eliminated, but they're not going to. But they don't have anything to play for. They know they're going down. Newcastle, they're in 7th, just kind of floundering. They've been playing decent recently until they lost to Crystal Palace. But they're not. They don't have anything to play for aside for pride. So I've got it going as 3-1 to Newcastle, just because they're a significantly better side than Sheffield United is. But it's not a game that I'm excited for. This one doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, this is going 3-0 Newcastle for me. Like, Sheffield United can get 12 total points. They're down by 10 points as far as relegation zone goes.
So this would be...
So, yeah, mathematically, there's a chance. But, yeah, mathematically, if they lose this one, they're relegated. I think they already know they're relegated.
Even if they draw
really
it.
Rubber stamp. Yeah, well, even if they draw it, there's still a chance. Because they at least get a point. They would just have to win out. So
okay, if they draw it and then win out, they are currently trailing goal difference by 41.
Yeah, they can make that up. They can make it up.
The idea of making up 41 goal difference in 3 matches seems a little bit untenable as an idea.
Just a few 10-0 wins, 0-10 losses. Pretty common stuff in the Premier League. But yeah, Newcastle 3-0. I think Newcastle really just digs that final foot in the 6-foot grade.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. Maybe Sheffield plays free and they do something cool, but there's no point in it at this time. So we'll see what they do. Then still at Molineux, so we're probably going to lose this one, but it's to Luton Town, a desperate Luton Town. Do you think Luton, who either win or lose, they haven't drawn in the past 5 match days. They've only drawn once since they've only not had a result one time since February 10th. They've either lost, they had lost all the other ones except for one. So mainly they've just lost. Do you think they get points here against my Wolves at Molineux?
Given the recent form of Wolverhampton at Molineux, I think that Luton is going to play extremely defensive in the first half.
Really?
I think they're going to not want to give up an early goal. I think it ends 1-1. I think Wolves gets a goal, but their offense just is not clicking like it was there a couple match weeks ago. Luton knows they need to score. I think they get one in the first half, but Wolves break through in the second half. And ultimately, Luton's thrilled with a point away, but they'll be disappointed knowing that they could have had 3. And Wolverhampton may play spoilers to their Premier League hopes.
Well, you're not doing yourself any favors here trying to catch up to me, because I also have it as 1-1. Yeah, because my Wolves just aren't doing much right now. Just to be honest, they're not performing well. They don't seem like they really want to be finishing out this season. It hasn't gone as well as they wanted, and I think 1-1 they'll be like, you know what, it's fine, it's good enough, it does the job. And Luton Town, on the other hand, will be like, that's tough. because it's definitely the Wolves are definitely beatable right now. Don't have a lot of offense going on. So 1-1 I think is the inevitable result as Fortress Molineux breaks a little more. Then we go to Everton hosting Brentford, those buzzy bees of Brentford. A bottom of the table clash here, 15 and 16. I've got this one going 3-1 Brentford's way, actually. I think that Everton will have a bit of a letdown after winning the Merseyside derby in the midweek and basically securing their Premier League status for next season. I mean, they've got 8 points on Luton Town with 4 to play. So I think that they'll kind of they'll feather the gas pedal here, and Brentford will take advantage. Who's on an unbeaten streak? I mean, they are unbeaten in the last 5. Brentford is, so they also have performed when needed, and they've been performing well against bottom table teams. I mean, they beat Luton Town 5-1 and Sheffield 2-0. So 3-1 I think is a doable task for Brentford.
I think Brentford has it in them to not screw this one up after beating Liverpool. I think it goes 2-2. I think both teams are in good form. Both teams want to keep it up. And I think they just break even and pretty much at the end shake hands and say, hey, we're both safe. We're good. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely see it going that way. I mean, these are pretty even sides, to be fair to them. Actually, Everton's a lot better, but they've had 12 points taken away this season, I think. 14?
Yeah, 12. Or, yeah, they had their most recent was 4. Right? No, their most recent was 4.
Uh-huh.
And then Nottingham also got 4. So, yeah, I think 14 points Everton's been deducted.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, 14 points. They tried to put him down. They're technically not safe yet, so it could cause for some very intriguing last match days. But in the meantime, we have said how we think that goes. We'll go to Aston Villa hosting Chelsea. Do you think that Chelsea bounces back at all, or do you think Aston Villa continues to be a better team than they are?
Boy, if there was ever a bounce back game you didn't want, it was Aston Villa at home.
Yeah.
Because they have played exceptional at home.
Yeah.
I think Cole Palmer comes in and gets a goal for Chelsea. I think Aston Villa just get one more goal than Chelsea does. I have it 2-1. I think Aston Villa is not losing at home. Chelsea's not good enough to beat them at home. So I think Aston Villa take it. And they're still playing for Champions League. If they continue to win, if they win out, I think they secure Champions League. So they're going to want to really make sure the home matches are the ones they secure. And, yeah, Chelsea will be thrilled to get a goal, I think.
Yeah, as of right now, they're up 6 points on Tottenham, but Tottenham has 2 games in hand. So they're essentially, you could consider them essentially level right now. So Aston Villa is still playing for something at this point in the season, which is, a lot of these teams are not. I have it as 2-0. I think that Aston Villa has yes, you've been right, very good at home, very collective at the back. And secure. They've had a couple slip-ups here in 2024, which were out of character for how they've been playing previously in the season. But Chelsea, I think, is a team that they can handle easily. And 2-0 seems like a good scoreline to me. 2-1, yeah, Cole Palmer's been playing so well, he could maybe get something going. But not enough to overturn the apple cart here for Aston Villa. Then to Bournemouth hosting Brighton Hove Albion, the game that no one really cares about. Yeah, this is 10 and 11 here. With BHA is winless in their past 5. Bournemouth has most recently beaten my Wolves, and then 4 weeks prior, Crystal Palace. This one I don't think is going to be a very good match. I've got it going 1-1, just kind of a snoozer that you don't have to worry about watching. That's how my gut's telling me to go on this one.
I think Brighton's offense is not where it was to begin the year. I think their defense is worse. I think this goes 3-1, Bournemouth over Brighton. Because I think Bournemouth's playing a little better. Brighton it seems like they're all they're just in disarray. And then their manager is also to a point where he's probably going to leave, and they know that. So it's another club where like there's just a lot going on. It's kind of awkward because like, do we listen to this guy? He may not even be our boss next year. Who knows? So I think they get smacked. It's at Bournemouth. It's 3-1.
Yeah. I mean, things are not looking great for BHA here, even if they aren't. And then to our other London derby here, Tottenham takes on Arsenal at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I think this one is a chess match. These teams don't want to lose to each other. We could see one sneak out there at the end, where one of the teams leaks a breakaway and gets the advantage on the other, but I think it ends up actually being 1-1. I think that this is a pretty tactical match. When the big teams are playing this season, we haven't seen a lot of fireworks, especially in 2024. They've been very considered in their efforts. The 0-0 draw between City and Liverpool, 1-1. I think it was 1-1 for Arsenal and City, and I think Liverpool and Arsenal also drew 1-1, if I'm remembering correctly. So I think this one also goes in that sort of vein of a tactical match that isn't very much fun to watch.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit more fun. I think it ends 2-2, and I think Arsenal squeaks a late goal in like 86th minute, and I think they push for a game winner and they don't get it. So I think they draw a similar score. Hard to see, even with their 5-0 win, Arsenal going to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and winning. But stranger things have happened. But I think that it'll end up being one of those, chess matches. Tottenham also still has Champions League to play for.
Yeah.
So they're going to want to win. So I think a draw is going to be disappointing for Arsenal, okay for Tottenham. And ultimately, this will really potentially put Arsenal out of it as well. So,
if the City already was ahead of them just outright. So dropping any points at this stage of the contest is detrimental, severely detrimental. And if City, we'll get to City right now. They've got a cakewalk here. They go to Kenilworth Road, Nottingham Forest, and try to take on I don't know, what do you call Nottingham Forest's players? What are they? The trees?
The Lumberjacks.
The Lumberjacks? Is that it? I don't think that's it.
I don't think.
I don't think that's it. But do you think City gets 3 points here? Be honest.
Well, I will make a show note that Nottingham plays at the City Ground, not at Kenilworth Road.
Yeah, that's Lutontown. Lutontown is Kenilworth Road. Nottingham Forest is the City Ground.
If we had any Nottingham Forest fans in there, we don't think you're that bad.
No.
We're not mixing you up.
Hold on a minute. Let's see how this match day goes, and you might be that bad.
I think City's playing too well. Nottingham's not good. I'm going to go 3-1. City winning. I don't know if they're going to beat them more than that, but that would put, if my predictions hold, if they hold, that would put Luton tied with Nottingham at 26 points, still down by goal difference. And then Burnley at 24 points. So that would make it even tighter there for that last spot. But if Nottingham pulls this off, I mean, 1, it means City deserved to lose the title, and 2, Nottingham deserved to stay up. So I don't think it'll happen, but you never know.
I've got it as 3-0.
I'm going 3-1.
I've got it as 3-0 for City. City's really good. Nottingham's not. And I also predicted Nottingham to get relegated this season, so I'm trying to get one of those correct. Hold on, let me dig into the notes here real quick. Where are my notes? Here they are.
Yeah, I think I might have had all 3 new teams being relegated.
I think you did. Let's see.
So that might come true.
It's looking pretty good. Is it? Hold on. My notes are very organized and good. That's why I can
I
find.
may have
exactly
had
what I'm looking
Burnley
for.
staying up, but I forget.
But anyways, that brings us to the end of the match that will be match day 35, with City beating Nottingham Forest. But before we let you move on with your weekend, we do have to get to the answer to our trivia question, which was there were two guys who were holding the record for most goals in a season. Is that it?
Yep.
There's what it was.
Two guys holding goals for the most goals, or holding that. It was before Erling Haaland.
Yes.
Which two guys? And the answer, one of the answers is pretty obvious. Alan Shearer.
Right.
Did you have a second guess?
My second guess was Harry Kane.
Ooh, you'd be close. I actually think Harry Kane, the most he scored was 28, maybe.
Just
So Salah at one point got 32, which was tied for the most in a 38-game season. So these guys had a little bit more.
Right.
But the second guy alongside Alan Shearer was Andy Cole. He's famous for playing for, I think, Liverpool. Andy Cole and Alan Shearer were tied at 34 goals, and Erling Haaland blew it away last year.
Right. And how many goals does he have this season?
18, 19.
And
I think he just got passed. I think he's no longer number one. I think
no longer number one?
Number one.
No, he's still number one. He's at
Is he?
He's tied for number one with Cole Palmer at 20. And Phil Foden might catch him. At the rate that Phil's scoring, he's at 16 now. It's actually, as it hasn't been in recent seasons, but it's a pretty tight Golden Boot race here with quite a few guys. Going down, there are 9 players within 5 goals of the lead. So, you get one hat trick, and that could swap you up quite near the top at this point.
It's kind of low scoring, too. I feel like there's typically 25, 26 goals by the end. So unless someone really breaks free here, it could be a low scoring Golden Boot winner.
I don't know if it's just diversified. I haven't. Let's see. Arsenal has the most goals, period. They're at 82. City has jumped up to 80 recently, I feel like, because there was a long time where they had, at least their goal difference wasn't as good. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Anyway, what is that? 24 losses. Gross. Anyway, there you go. Alan Shearer. Who was the other guy?
Andy Cole.
Andy Cole and Alan Shearer. If you had that, pat yourself on the back and get ready for next week when we've got another brain-busting trivia question coming your way. Until we get there, though, why don't you go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer,